What up, y'all? Tina here. So I got my good frenemy, Geeky Cast here, and we're going to talk through some of like the news and stuff going on. I don't know if y'all know, me and Geeky Cast have known each other for a while now, and we hate each other. Yeah, we argue like cats and dogs. It's really bad. If y'all could see how we go at each other behind the scenes, it's bad, but we're still here with each other, and I don't know why. Chad, what's your side?
That's the truth. That's pretty funny, actually, though.
For all of y'all that know, we are recording this on March 12th. I don't know when this is coming out, but we just got the Sadie Sink news, so we're gonna start off with that. Well, what's your feelings about that? How do you feel about this Sadie Sink casting?
Did you see the theory that's going around saying that she's playing Mayday Parker for Toby's daughter?
Okay, so that's why you're on here. We're going to talk about all the theories that we've seen. I have seen that. I don't believe it, but go ahead. Tell us more.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like it's cool to think like that's pretty cool, whatever. But like at the same time, I don't see anytime something cool happens, I don't think Marvel would do it. That's the problem.
Okay. So what do you think? Because we're seeing rumors about Jean Grey. I don't think it's going to be Jean Grey, but what do you feel about the Jean Grey rumors?
I feel like that could be it, and I know it's kind of but it's just because of the whole Jeff Snyder thing from a while ago, where he was like, "Oh, she's," and who was I watching? I think it was Den of Nerds, Josh today, and he was saying something along the lines of like, "Oh, well, Jean Grey, obviously being a high level telepath, what if she can look into his mind and she can know, oh, this is what happened and all this kind of things, and it kind of like helps with the spell in a sense."
So I haven't watched Josh's stream yet, but this is why I don't think it's Jean Grey. And I think Jeff be on point, but sometimes with Jeff, he hears stuff and sometimes it's not in the full context, because we kind of went through that with the whole TChalla thing. So I do believe that someone told him that Sadie Sink is being eyed for the MCU. And honestly, she probably was being eyed for Jean Grey. She probably had two options. So she probably met with Marvel. She probably met with Sony. Sony may have had the better deal. I just can't see Marvel saying, we're going to announce Jean Grey and we're going to let Sony do it. Because even though it's like a dual partnership, I just can't see them trusting Sony to handle all of this correctly. Now, they haven't really done anything bad with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but it's just...
Yeah, I totally in my head was like, okay, well, what if she's like a spider person? But then you have Alex, who came out the other day and was talking about how he did like he's been doing so many of these things lately, those Q&As.
Yeah, the Q&As.
And one of them was no Jessica Drew, no Anya Cortisone, and no, the other one. But the spider people.
Right.
I'm like, who could she be then? Maybe when, because apparently Spider-Man 4 is supposed to be a sequel to Doomsday. What if Doom gives him his universe, like, like his own like promise, but that's like an MJ, but not his MJ. He's like, I can give you this and this and this. And, throughout the film, we're learning like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't what he wants. Maybe, you got to fix this. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it. I don't really know. And Marvel's so weird about how they do their films. It's like, I don't know where we're going, to be honest with you.
This is why it's so tricky, because if you let's think about all the Spider-Man movies. Every single one of them. None of them have been connected to the MCU, really. Like, really, when you think about it. Because even when Far From Home with Toby and Andrew, Kevin Feige was saying, oh, this is the big connection, and this is about to break the multi. It didn't do nothing. There really was no connection to the overall. It didn't connect to Hawkeye.
Yeah.
It didn't really connect to Multiverse of Madness. So I don't know if this is going to be as connected as all the rumors we hear, because they might pull an okie doke and say, no, this happened before Doomsday.
Yeah, kind of like how they did in Far From Home. They did 9 years later or something like that. And then, Miss Minutes came out and said, oh, that was an error on their part. And you're like, oh, okay. Because, yeah, I mean, originally, the original plan apparently was that, Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come first. And then it was supposed to be No Way Home. And Erica Chavez was supposed to show up in that movie. But,
right.
Push comes to show, COVID, everything else under the sun, like, I just feel like we've always talked about when that book came out, I don't think Marvel's as tight as they think they are. I think they have general ideas, but they don't really know where they're going, and they kind of just spitball it.
Like, all of this stuff is just so crazy. So we've heard possible MJ. I don't think they're going to do MJ.
I don't know.
Look, can you imagine, like, just imagine, like, the backlash they would get if they're like, oh, Zendaya, that's not really MJ. This new white girl is MJ. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. That would be
No.
yeah, because I don't even like Zendaya, but like she's associated as that character, so you can't really.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, you guys are racist. 100%. It would just blow up.
And let's don't get it twisted. Zendaya ain't just some willing. Zendaya is Zendaya. Like Zendaya probably is a bigger star than Tom Holland.
Oh, for sure.
Depending on who you're talking to. So I just can't see that happening. What about, because I brought up Gwen Stacy. Do you think it could be Gwen Stacy?
I mean, if they're gonna do her hair blonde, but once again, I don't know. All I know is Alex said that there's a character with the whip, and I hope to God she's not Black Cat. I hope she's not Black Cat. I hope she's not Felicia. I hope she's just a random. Like honestly, I hope she's just a small role, because you know how like in Quantumania, if you remember. They were like, I can't remember his name. It was the guy, he was like the telepath, and he was like, can you stop? Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be a big role, and that was a rumor, and then all of a sudden, all he was
just a guy down there. But yeah, people thought he was going to be Reed Richards at one point. But you know what? That was Scoopers. When you look at the Deadline article, the article says that Sadie Sink will have a massive role. It doesn't say like she's just been cast. So whatever it is, the article is making it seem like it's going to be something important. Chad, I used to call him the Scooper Police, right? Because anytime a scoop would come out, he want to fight with the Scoopers. So can you explain to the people now? Let's get it correct. You had some people who was rooting for you, like, get him, Chad. Check him out, Chad. So you had some people that was rooting for you. I'm like, Chad, don't do that. So why did you take up the job of being the Scooper Police?
I guess it's just because, like, I've gotten some things here or there, whatever, like with the whole Ultraman and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's one thing to actually get facts, or like people reach out to you, like how I was doing with Loki for a long time, or Agatha, and like I actually physically know something. And then you have other accounts that are just BSing that nobody ever like says, hey, you got that wrong. But the second I get something wrong, I get destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, right. Like, thankfully, I haven't got anything wrong with Thunderbolts, and I'm pretty on point on it. But like, if I got one thing wrong, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. You know, I don't pride myself in being like, oh, I'm gonna get it first.
Right.
I just like to know stuff. I hate spoilers, or I love spoilers. So like, I always have to know ahead of things. Like I'm just that way.
Right.
But the police thing, I don't know. I hate when people lie. Like you have the update accounts, and you have, like Holyfield and me were bashing for a while. We're cool now, but like, people like that, or Divinity Seeker.
Yeah.
The biggest liar on the planet.
Yeah. So my thing with like people like Divinity Seeker and Holyfield is y'all know y'all be lying. That's my thing. That's what most of the other people I'm cool with. Like I don't really bother like RPK. I don't really bother Alex too much. I don't even really bother My Time to Shine. You used to like give My Time to Shine hell because I know they at least 50-50. But people like Divinity Seeker and Holyfield, they just be lying, like just telling straight up lies. So I can understand that. Do you think scooper culture is good or bad for entertainment?
I think scooper culture can hype up things, but at the same time, I do think we're at a point in time now where it is bad. And necessarily bad, I mean, because like, imagine going on to TikTok or going on to YouTube. You see it everywhere. Like, it's cool. Like when every so often, I can go to my house, my wife or something, and be like, hey, did you hear, like, this is cool. This is coming out. But it's to the point where like, it's everywhere now. And she's just like, hey, like, and she likes to be surprised at movies. And
right.
It's just so oversaturated. Like, that's why, like, with YouTube and everything, yeah, they're all making the same news videos and the same scoop videos, but it's not even their scoops. So, yeah,
right.
Very oversaturated. Can ruin the market and definitely can turn down the audience. For sure.
Okay. So when someone brings a scoop to you, how do you determine when you're going to post it or if you're going to sit on it for a while? How do you know if a scoop is legit or not when somebody's bringing you information?
So usually I reach around. I kind of ask a couple people and I say, hey, have you heard so-and-so? Have you heard so-and-so? For the most part. Like, but I try not to tell everything because, like, I'll use this for example. If I tell RPK something, he will 100% reach back out again and again and again and again, and then he'll take the scoop. So I'm like, he has no shade. Like, he has no.
Yeah.
Alex on the other.
Give me an example. Like, and you don't have to give me an exact scoop, but break down what you mean. Like, give me an example like that.
Okay, so when Ultraman came around, I got reached out. You actually talked to the person on the tweets the other day. I'm not going to say who it is, but they were talking. It was today, actually. And I put ... So he knows somebody who works there. They sent me a long text message in my DM. It was like a month before RPK posted. So then I waited a little bit and I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold it for a couple weeks. And then I posted like 4 days before Daniel or something like that. And he's like, hey dude, like this was in my Discord. How did you get this? And I said, bro, and I I blocked out the name and I said, I've had this over a month and a half. I didn't take nothing from you. He's like, oh, my bad, dude. And then the next couple of weeks, he's been reaching out, hey, dude, have you heard anything else? Do you know what's going on? And I'm like, bro, like, yeah, it's cool to do that, but you're not going to work with me. Like Alex, on the hand, we'll talk, and we talk like friends. Daniel's just stretching like, hey, what's this? Or Josh. Me and Josh talk like that too all the time. Yeah. So we'll go through theories and whatnot. And
right. Thunderbolts. Yeah. Speaking of Thunderbolts, great segue. So when Sentry was announced, it was originally going to be, what was his name?
Steven Yeun.
That man, Steven Yeun. All right. So Thunderbolts was announced. We started hearing rumors early. Sentry's going to be one of the main antagonists. So you were excited because you are a Sentry fan. You were so excited for the casting. Why were you so upset when Steven Yeun was cast?
Because I feel like, okay, so I don't feel like it pertains all the time, but I feel like there is an aspect of, and when I say this, not comic accuracy. I don't believe comic accuracy like how, like, I've been fighting with people about the Thing. Like, the Thing looks like the Thing, so obviously.
Right.
Well, Sentry, in my opinion, he's a very rare character that's been around since the early 2000s, that he's always been depicted as a white, blonde guy with long hair. They've never done anything different, unlike, other comics where, like, Reed Richards has had a beard or no beard or look different. So to me, I was like, bro, like, come on, like, the one character that I love, don't change him, because a lot of things they just change to change. And personally, I didn't think Steven Yeun was gonna fit. He's a great voice actor. I don't see him as good as a actor in certain things.
I was upset because I like Steven Yeun. I thought Steven Yeun was about to kill it as Sentry. And I always talk about him always fighting, even fighting with some of my homeboys. I am okay with race swaps as long as the race is not so prevalent to the backstory. So I thought it was going to be interesting to see Steven Yeun because, like we talked about before, he's not a big guy. He's small. So I'm like, yo, this is going to be so cool to see him show up with so much power, to see the Void. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got scared and ran away from the role, but I remember covering the story and they was like, he just quit via email. So I don't know what happened, but I wanted to see Steven Yeun.
I don't understand.
And you cried like a little baby, and everybody on Twitter called you a racist because they felt like you was trying to get my Asian homeboy up out there. Do you think you're a racist?
No, my daughter is Japanese. My wife is Japanese. Half my family is Asian. I'm like, that literally blew my mind, because my thing is, I think I was more mad that Steven Yeun wasn't buff. That's what bugged me. He was a little guy. He's a little guy. Like,
the guy playing him now isn't big. What's his name?
Louis Pullman. Yeah.
For y'all that don't know, he was very passionate, very upset with the casting. I picked on him every freaking day. And I'm like, that's why your character is going to be Asian. Yeah. And he cried like a little girl every freaking day about the Sentry casting. And then when Steven Yeun quit and he got a blonde white guy, he was just so happy like a little girl. He was like,
But my thing, I don't know.
You just say you wanted a white man. That's it. That's
not the truth, because, like, I stood on business with Jonathan Majors. I wholeheartedly think he is the greatest actor in the MCU, and I also think that he is one of the few people that you could race swap Kang, because I feel like his Kang was so good. And I was fighting everybody in the world for Jonathan Majors. Nobody cared when the Ancient One went from an Asian guy to a bald girl. Nobody cared when Mordo went from an Asian guy to a black guy. Right. But Mordo was great. That's what I'm saying. Like if you don't know the character and they're race swapped as much, like if Mordo, obviously, if you're a Doctor Strange reader, Doctor Strange isn't very good to read, but that's fine, because it's a great actor and he really sold that role. Nobody would have known who that was.
Yeah. So your passion for Sentry, do you see like how it's a parallel to people who are wanting to recast T'Challa? Because that's a very passionate crowd as well.
Well, like, even for me, like, I love T'Challa. Like, comic-wise, it's like, dude, we're going into the next big things where he is so important in Time Runs Out and in Secret Wars and in all. He's so important. Just to, like, sideline him, like, and I don't know personally, but I feel like Chadwick would have been, like, recast. Like, I feel like he would have. Like, You know, like, I think he's amazing, but at the same time, like, I definitely think you should have continued with Black Panther. Going to T'Challa 2 or whatever, mini T'Challa, just stupid. Like, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, the kid's 6. We're gonna have to wait
Yeah.
30 years for this kid to be, and then you said let's do Shuri. Like, I don't know.
Not too much on my girl. Yeah, motherfucker.
How about making Black Panther a Okoye?
People will kill you. My homeboys, the recast T'Challa team, will die if they hear you say put Okoye in that Black Panther suit. They're already doing that in the video game where you can let anybody be Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say that publicly. Don't do that no more.
I'm gonna live stream the whole thing as a Okoye.
All right, so when Agatha was announced, I remember a lot of people was against Agatha. It seemed like you liked the show. What about Agatha kind of got you brought in?
A lot, actually. I don't know. I like Catherine Hahn. I think Catherine Hahn is a really good actress. I feel like she's kind of like Robert Downey Jr., where like I feel like I would love to see the background. I feel like she went off off the script. Like she can just sell you. She did so well. And Aubrey Plaza, who's just the biggest weirdo in the world, their chemistry together was so good. And she's so weird. Like that whole group was great. I'll be honest, I didn't like John Locke first episode. I thought he was really whiny, but then he really sold to me. Like, and I was so like, dude, this kid sucks. And then just turned 360'd me. All of them. I love. I remember, I think I got the most views at that time because it wasn't even about the views, but I was so passionate about constantly talking about the show. I really generally enjoyed it more than Loki.
Yeah, that's why this was one of my questions, because I remember as Agatha was heating up, and I don't know if you were one of the people or not, but I do remember a lot of people like, no one's gonna watch this show. Who asked for this? You know, for the people that did watch it, it turned out a lot better than I thought it was. It did start off slow for me, but when you hit his reveal, it seems like every episode after that started to get a lot better, because the first 2 or 3, I was just like, no.
Well, and it was one of the first shows where I legit didn't know the ending. Like, I knew bits and pieces. Like, I knew the whole, like, I remember I said it even before the Funko Pop came out, that she was Death and they were married. And people were like, I think it was you actually said they weren't married, and they came out and they said it recently.
I don't think I said that.
It wasn't you? Somebody.
This is what me and you argued about. What's her other character? Death. What's her other character?
Rio, the Green Witch.
That's what we argued about, because you were like, I told you she's the Green Witch, and I'm like, she's technically not the Green Witch, she's Death, and Death can take many forms. And you're like, she's the Green Witch, and I'm like, she's Death. She could be anything. She could be anything. She's not necessarily the Green Witch, because, and we're probably about to see this in Ironheart, Mephisto, the devil, Death, they can take any form. So that's what we were arguing about, if she was the Green Witch or Death. And I'm like, she's Death. And you're like, she's the Green Witch.
I don't know if they're going to do Mephisto, though. I feel like they're not going to do Mephisto.
What do you mean?
Okay, so if you remember, there was that leak that came out and they said human Dormammu. Just hear me out. You read the comic books, Dormammu is the one who gives the Hood his powers. That Hood.
Right.
Not Mephisto.
Right.
So what if it's
all the time.
But what if it's Dormammu, though?
No. Why would you
just
do
think
that?
it would make more sense.
No, that is so, because one, we already got Dormammu. Why do we need to see Dormammu in physical form away from Doctor Strange? Like, that would just be so like out of place. And then people would be like, well, so is now Ironheart and Doctor Strange connected? It's gonna be Mephisto. He's gonna be a businessman. Yes, it's Mephisto.
Okay.
We'll come back to this.
I also heard a rumor that Nicholas Scratch is the Hood. I don't know how true that is. That's just I'm just saying, people have spit random things, and I'm just like, okay, I'll hold it all and I'll put it into binder, but I don't,
Let me tell you why I don't think so. And I talk about this on a lot of my videos. When Ryan Coogler does his productions, this is why you haven't heard a lot of leaks yet. This show is coming soon. It's so like sealed off and insulary. He don't really talk to nobody. The people kind of stay to themselves. That's why there hasn't been any leaks from Ironheart yet. Even for people who are saying nobody cares about the show, people still care about leaking stuff. I can't see, the only way it would be Nicholas Scratch is Ryan Coogler would have to be in contact with the people with Agatha, and I can't see them allowing each other to step on each other's toes. You know what I'm saying? Unless they've talked about it. That's the biggest problem with the MCU. Everybody isn't talking to everybody. Ryan Coogler's over here. Agatha, them is over here. Thunderbolts is over here. So I can't see that happening. But when is this scheduled to come? June?
This year, Ironheart?
Yeah, Ironheart's coming this year.
I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. The only one I would not watch is Daredevil and Echo.
Echo was good. Let's see, Ironheart release date.
I just don't like Daredevil. I've never been a Daredevil fan. I think he's so lame.
June 25th, Ironheart. So it's coming right after Thunderbolts, right before Fantastic Four. Speaking of Daredevil, why do you not like Daredevil? How are you an MCU fan? How are you an insider and you don't like Daredevil?
Something about Daredevil is so boring to me. Like the case stuff, I don't know. That's fine. Like, but like he's just lame. Like, bro's whole power is he's blind. Like, so since he's blind, he's just so lame. Like, I can't like get behind it. He's like, okay, so people always compare him to Spider-Man. Spider-Man is ridiculously strong, holds back, has a spider sense, has a tragic life, blah blah. And then you got Daredevil, who's a blind lawyer who, yeah, that's all I got.
He got acid in his eyes as a kid. That's pretty tragic.
He's so lame, though. I don't know. He's such a lame character. It's like Echo. Like, there's nothing special about Echo either. Echo's just death.
Echo was fire. I
don't know. I can't.
Got it.
That's more about.
So our next question: why do you think X-Men '97 was so popular with the nerd community, but not the general population? What happened? What happened with that?
Well, obviously, I feel like with the general population, it was the morph thing. Even though it didn't do anything. What we argued with, even though Morph to me didn't do anything, like Bo said, like how Morph was gay, but he loved Logan, but Logan didn't love him back. And I honestly think the biggest problem nowadays is that you have people online who put out this hate thing for views, and that's the truth. Right. Like, because if I say, oh, this is garbage, and then you're gonna be like, oh wait, that's kind of like that, I hate that now. And then it kind of down a train, and it's stupid. It's like, bro, what are you hating for? I get like if there's actually something bad, but like with X-Men, like it's so comic accurate, it's so good, and I think that's honestly what sold comic book fans was like you literally picked up a book and it was that specific book.
Right. But, X-Men '97. I don't think it was like more for hate. I just think. And this kind of goes into Daredevil, too, because we just got news that Daredevil isn't charting as high. I think it's because there's just Disney Plus has such a specific audience. It's going to be hard for them to catch on a lot of these shows. It's just going to be difficult moving forward versus like when Daredevil was on Netflix, we don't even know what the numbers are. So we can't even really argue and really say it was successful over there. But I think with Netflix, you have so many people that have Netflix. Sometimes people just cut the freaking Netflix on and it just runs.
Yeah.
And I think they assumed that Netflix crowd was going to come to Disney Plus. And I don't want to say people didn't really like Daredevil. I think a lot of people was just watching it because it was there. Because you ever catch yourself on Netflix and something comes on and you're like, oh, what's this? I'll just watch it.
Yep.
So I think X-Men '97 kind of failed there too. I don't think a lot of people really, really knew about it versus if you put it on a Cartoon Network at 10 p.m. at night, or you make it a little bit more kid friendly and you're putting it on at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think there's a different conversation. Disney Plus is just the problem to me. So.
Yeah, I definitely think Disney Plus I think streaming in general is a fail. Like, because I'll use this example. I'm a diehard Dragon Ball fan, been my whole life, and it only matters because the simple fact that, take in mind, this is something from Japan, right? And everybody knows Dragon Ball. Everybody knows. I mean, you would argue that everybody knows the X-Men as well. The difference, though, is Dragon Ball you can watch for free, whereas the X-Men, you have to pay for Disney Plus. That's like, I don't even know what it is right now. My father-in-law pays for it. I think it's like $140 now a year, and they got 10 shows. They add like one new thing a month. Like, it's not worth it. Marvel just doesn't connect. It's simple as that. We have 47,000 stories and none of them. Yeah. Tony Stark showed up in 11 of the 20 films.
Yeah.
Nothing here. We've seen Doctor Strange only in like Far From Home.
Sure.
Yeah. No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So it's not, I think I don't like to say it, but I almost hope that they fail Disney Plus and they put it on. Well, because think about it. If you put it on TV, at least people will watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking about this the other day. I wonder if it's something contractual that it has to be on Disney Plus, because otherwise it just does not make sense. Like, why is Daredevil not coming on 9 p.m. on a Saturday night? Why? Like, even people who don't, like, when you think about like the older generation, like people who are 50, 60, Saturday night, they cut on, they see a legal procedure, they might just watch it just because it's there. So it's like certain things I feel like need to be on TV, but I think Marvel may have some type of stipulation where it just has to be on Disney Plus. Do you think the MCU is on a downturn or uptick?
It freaks me out because, like, I would love to say, oh, we're going to have this for another 20 years. But realistically, I think it's going into a hole. What's the next 2 films?
Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four.
And we're back, which is the Thunderbolts, which I'm super excited for. I feel like the Fantastic Four is going to fail. People can say, oh, it's up in film, but think about it. All of the other Fantastic Fours have never done well. Like, they've done okay. People are like, oh my God, you guys don't understand. It's Marvel's first family. Yeah, and they're like the most boring out of the group of Marvel characters. like there's nothing interesting about them. I just.
So you think if RDJ shows up in this movie is not, I know he's not going to have like a main role, but you're telling me if they have a post-credit scene with Dr. Doom tapping his foot that people are not running out to see this film?
I think we're going to hit, realistically, I think we'll hit 600 million.
No. Impossible.
You got to take in mind. It's competing with Jurassic World and Superman in the same month within 2 weeks apart of each other.
No.
Jurassic World is winning. Let's be 100% real right now. The last 3 have hit $1 billion. The last 3. And this one looks really good. And it has Scarlett Johansson. And it has Mahershala Ali.
It can't hit just 6. Even as bad as Brave New World is, it's going to finish about 450.
I think
Fantastic Four hitting 6? So where do you have Thunderbolts at?
9. And $1 billion. I'm going to watch it as many times as I have to.
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts is going to make high, though, because think about it. When you go on Twitter, and I know Twitter doesn't matter, but it still has word of mouth.
Yep.
They're stand. All those characters are stand. Bucky, Yelena, Bob.
I think it's going to have legs.
I think
that's what I think. I don't. If it doesn't come out swinging, I think the word of mouth is going to give it longer legs. And I was talking to my homeboy about this with Mufasa. When Mufasa came out, the opening numbers was 35 million. And everybody was like, oh, Sonic is going to blow it out the water. It's ending at about 750.
It beats Sonic.
So, yeah, it beat Sonic. So I think Thunderbolts is going to have legs. I think it's going to finish, 6 or 7. That's my, look, if it makes 6, Marvel is happy. I heard the budget was like 180. If they hit 6, they're happy. They're satisfied. That's great. If it's anywhere from the 4 to the 5, which I doubt, because like I said, Brave New World is hitting 4. This is getting 6 to 7.
And that's something I think we talked about too, like where you said, like, is it on a decline and you know, whatever. I think a big issue, honestly, and I've thought this since day one, and I don't know how to exactly put it. I know a lot of general people, like if I go anywhere and like I know people, they say, hey, chat, you know, they know me as the Marvel person. And I had, you know how people came up to me and said the Black Captain America? I'm like, no, that's Sam Wilson. Like, that's just Captain America. Like, people don't know that if they don't read the comic books. And I think, once again, dumbass general audience word of mouth is bad. Like,
yeah,
if the general audience doesn't like something, you know about it. It's hated.
Right.
None of these characters are like super big, but they're all characters that people liked.
Yeah.
And the trailer looks good. I mean, everything I've heard behind the scenes of it is amazing. Like,
what are we talking? Thunderbolts or Cat 4?
Thunderbolts.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I loved Brave New World. I thought Brave New World was, I didn't want to go in liking it because I don't like Anthony Mackie, but I was like, dude, this is a really good movie. It's a shame that people crapped on it because it didn't deserve it.
I think, and that's we could talk about Brave New World for an hour. I think it was just not great writing. Unfortunately, for somebody like Anthony Mackie, he's not a superstar, right? Yeah. He's an actor, but he's not a superstar. Anthony Mackie can probably walk through the mall and 2 people might stop him. If Michael B. Jordan walks through the mall, he's going to have a crowd around him. So when you know you're not like a superstar, you have to work a little extra harder to sell the movie. I don't think he did a good job at that.
Well, I think a big problem is the way that I think Marvel kind of screwed themselves this year, because you had Brave New World in February, right? But you were already putting the 3rd Thunderbolt trailer out, the Fantastic Four. What are you doing? Like, and once they hit the movie theater, there was no advertisement. There was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It just fell off a cliff.
Warning, warning, warning.
All right, so the last segment we're going to get into is, do you have any list of scoops or spoilers or rumors you want to drop? I'm going to label this the spoiler section so people will know.
I've heard recently that Sentry, would be awesome because they've done it in his first comic run, he's supposed to fight the Void in the Void. So obviously the Void in this movie is like a realm. It's like the shadow. They walk into it, and each one of these characters have to deal with their inner evils. So you have Yelena, who has the loss of her sister, doesn't know her place in life, and then she's going to have to fight herself. Where you have Bucky, who's going to have to deal with the Winter Soldier accepting that, like the quote in Civil War where Tony's like, do you even remember them? He's like, I remember all of them. Like he has to go through this like that. And then you have Alexei, who has, I don't know if he's in that part, but if he's in that part, if he's already dead. But anyways,
spoilers. So say it. You think they're gonna kill Alexei?
So there's two things. So before it was rewritten, you had fights like Taskmaster and Ghost teaming up against Sentry. You had Alexei getting destroyed by Sentry and dying. Yeah, and then with their whole original thing, there was, I've heard Bucky's supposed to die, which I doubt it. I mean, he's not going to die this one, but that was an original thing. Alexei was supposed to die. Once again, I don't know for sure on this one. Been reaching out to a couple people on that one, but obviously Taskmaster is supposed to die. You literally see it in the trailer. Like, if you go back and watch the trailer, Ghost phases through the wall, saves them all. She explodes in the vault. There's a lot of things about the Thunderbolts that's really cool. It's really straightforward, from showing the little details that people don't even catch, or like, how Sentry, he's not gonna, he's not, like we were talking about the other day. It's gonna start off with Val putting them all in this building. They're all working for Val. They're all contract killers. Ghost is doing it for Bill Foster. He has cancer, so she's trying to get him medication. And then you have Taskmaster, who is with Val. You have Yelena, who's trying to find her purpose. You have Bucky, who's doing his own thing for a little bit. He's trying to spy on Val. And then you have, those Bob, who has been mind wiped, been drugged, and that's why he only knows his name. When he stumbles in, he has no idea what's going on with himself. And apparently, originally it was AIM. I don't know if it's AIM or Ox anymore. That's the thing that I keep hearing. But they stole him from Val. Val has them going after him. The whole plan was for them to all die. Then it's going to build up their team. From the team, then the Void's going to get awakened. They're going to have to, with the power of friendship, they're going to have to stop Bob. Whether it's, hey, wake up, use Sentry to fight Void, but it's the power of friendship. Yeah.
Disappointing.
Well, it's like Brave New World. Originally, Ross was supposed to die. And I said that way before that thing came out. Originally, he was supposed to get the adamantium Sam was supposed to use, and was supposed to drain all the gamma out of his body, and his heart was going to shut down. And then he was supposed to be dead, and he was going to go to bed. Yeah, so there's like all these things that they just keep tying in and whatnot. And that's where right now, like, probably be doing it over the next like month and a half or two, maybe. I'll be, releasing some scoops that I'm hearing more often because I'm trying to just compile everything before I say anything realistically.
Yeah.
That's the thing that Marvel keeps doing too. They're not killing anybody. There's no stakes. Like, you go in and nothing happens.
Yeah. Look, me and my homeboy Blue was arguing because we were talking about that, and we were talking about how there's no stakes. And I said, listen, I know everybody be hating, but Agatha has stakes. Agatha was killing people.
Exactly. That's why I like it so much, because it was every week you were like, is that person dying?
Agatha was killing people. Agatha was taking people out. He was like, man, ain't nobody watched that show. I'm like, but if you wanted stakes, Agatha really was killing people. A lot of people, when you get to that finale episode and you see how she's been doing it for decades and decades, I'm like, yo, Agatha's crazy.
Yeah.
Golly. But we'll have to do this again, man. Maybe it'll be a couple months once we get some more scoops on let's talk about that concept art. How you feeling? What do you think about that? You think it's real or?
I think it's Secret Wars.
Doomsday.
I don't think it's Doomsday. I think it's Secret Wars.
Why would they have concept art for Secret Wars?
Because
now
I have a really hard time it being Doomsday. Think about this. So the plot for Doomsday, from what we know, from what Alex has stated, is it's a race between Doom and the Avengers, or whoever is in that group of Avengers, to get to Loki. They're trying to get to Loki. That's what Alex said. So
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying in my head, like, that's a lot. That's a lot, but go ahead.
It's like the movie needs to be 4 hours. Like, there's not enough time. And, they're trying to get to Loki, and essentially they're going to reset a universe. I've heard they're going to reset a universe. I've heard they're making one universe, and it's going to have everything in it because originally Kang separated the mutants and the Fantastic Four from the universes and kept them out. That's why Dr. Doom is so mad. And, so we're supposed to go, okay, well, what's going on? We're racing to time. Then you're saying we have to deal with 60 plus characters. We have to continue what happened to the 10 rings, what happened to the Bangles. We have to go with universe 1005 where Monica's in. There's not enough time. It's and the whole thing with, say at the end of the film, Doom does whatever and it changes. I feel like that concept art was honestly like what they're thinking of for Secret Wars. Because, just like in the comics, like that's what happens to the universe. I don't think we'll show it. I think it'll go to black, almost kind of like how Infinity War showed, where like at the end it just kind of showed Thanos smiling and we had no idea what was next. I would hope so. I would hope it'd be a cliffhanger.
I don't know what's going on with this movie, and that's crazy. Now, what would be smart, which they can't do, it would be smart if Doomsday comes out, because like you said, this really needs to be a 4-hour story. Exactly. Doomsday goes out, we get 2 hours of what it's supposed to be. Spider-Man comes out and we can kind of continue that story and make it make sense, but unfortunately, they're not going to do it. I just don't see how they do all this heavy lifting with no build-up. And Russos have been putting out statements like, oh, we're going to stick very true to everything that's happened in the MCU already. We're going to pull upon what's happened. So it sounds like they're open to whatever's been going on the past 4 or 5 years. We're going to pull different parts of that and kind of tell this story. But I'm just like, how? This is so crazy.
Yeah, and they keep talking about, they said today or is yesterday, they were like, oh, we're pulling from the 1984 and the 2015. But then they said, but we like Hickman. I'm like, okay, wait. Well, if you're doing Hickman, you're failing dramatically already because there's nothing, there's no stakes, there's not these universes coming, there's no world. But then if you go the old one, they could pull a BS and they could be like, everybody just appears on that planet. Like everybody just room. I like the older Secret Wars better than the newer Secret Wars, but I like the build up to the newer Secret Wars better. So
crazy. They really should have kept Doctor Strange in, like his movie. We technically could have had a 4-movie build up. We could have had Doomsday, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Secret Wars, and you could have just told one 8-hour story because that's technically how much time we need, but they're about to try to rush it. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. And y'all, we're not going to get a lot of leaks because I do think it's smart that they're now filming in-house where stuff can't leak out. But I don't think that's going to be a good experience because then everything is green screen and it just does not look good. I don't think
it's going to look good. I think it's going to. The thing I've always pitched is I like
Quantum Mania because that's how Quantum Mania was.
Yeah. Practical effects is always the way to go. Like you don't get the same feeling.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see, but we'll come back. We'll do another it won't be an interview anymore. We'll just be another link up and we can talk about some more stuff. But tell the people where to find you, my boy.
Twitter, the Geeky Cast, TikTok, the Geeky Cast, YouTube, the Geeky Cast, everything all the same. Actually doing a giveaway coming up where July 1st, I'm giving away a Dr. Doom mask and a Sentry Funko. So those.
Oh, that's so nice. I don't give my people nothing. I need to do better.
Well, I was just like, the Dr. Doom mask looks really cool, and I bought my own. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to get 2 because why not? It's like the Green Goblin one right here. Like, they're just.
What do people have to do to get this mask?
Just follow, share, and leave a comment. Pretty simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to log off and peace out. This is Tina. She dressed me. Geeky Cast.
Have a good one.